Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture on C++ programming language. We are on lecture 23rd. So in this lecture, we're gonna write another program in C++ using if-else statements. So our lectures are more practical than theoretical. So in this lecture also, we write another program using if-else statements. So we write a program which asks the user to enter a number, and our program checks if that number is even or odd. So we are on lecture 23rd, so let's write our program. Lecture 23. So we write a program which asks the user to enter a number, and our program checks if that number which is entered by the user is an even number or odd number. So we implement this logic or this program using if-else statement. So let's write our program. So first, we start from hash include iostream, our input-output library. So we include in our program. Then we use our namespace std using namespace std. And then we declare our main function, integer main. We open the curly brace or body of the main function, and we close the body of it. And then at the end of the main function, we write return 0. So that's the return, is the last statement in our program. So here we declare first an integer variable. Integer, I put integer number. Now I cout. I ask the user enter an integer number. Now, so here I cn. So I store that number inside, the variable number. And now here we need to check if the number is entered by the user, is this number is even or odd. So if we talk about even numbers in mathematics, like 2, like 4, like 6, like 8, like 100, 1000, if we divide those numbers into 2, the remainder become 0. For example, if we have a number, this is 4, and this is an even number. If we divide this 4 by 2, it's become 2. And if we check the remainder will be 0 here. The remainder is 0. If we divide like 10 divided by 2, it's become 5, but the remainder of this operation is 0. So it means any number we divide by 2, and the remaining become what? 0. So we implement this program, this logic in our program. So here we say if we check if number, if the remainder of this number divided by 2 is equal to 0, so we open the if block and we close the if block, and we cout here, we cout, and we say number is, we put here number is even. Quotation and inline. And now, if the number is not, even, if we divide the number, which the remaining is like, if we divide 7 divided by 2 is equal to 3, and the remainder here become 1. So if the user enters 7 and the condition become false, so the else part will be executed. In the else part, we say cout quotation, or we can say number is out, and end line. So this is a program which checks if the number is even or odd. So first, we declare a variable type of int, and the name of the variable is number. Then we cout, we ask the user to enter an integer number. Then whenever user enter the number, we store that number inside the variable number. And then we check using if-else statement, we check if that number entered by the user, we divide by 2, and the remainder of that operation becomes 0. So it means that number is even. According to our math logic, if we divide a number by 2, always the even number divided by 2, the remaining will be 0. So if the remaining of that operation is equal to 0, it means that number is even. And then if the remaining of that, division by 2 is not equal to 0, so that number is odd. So again, if you check here, we use the if-else statements. So this was another example of using if-else statements in our program in C++. So it's time to go to in our computer, in our system, and write and compile and run this program. Thank you. Yes, I'm back in my computer. So let's open our IDE. So we are on lecture 23. On lecture 23rd. And we write a program which checks, if the number is entered by the user, it's even or odd. So we write a program which checks if a number is even or odd. So we use again the if-else statement. So here I first declare a variable, integer number, and then cout. I ask from the user to enter an integer. And then I cn, and then I check if number mod 2 is equal to 0. So here we cout a number is even. And end line, if the condition is not true, so we write the else part. So here cout, I can see number is odd. So if you can see here, we again use the if-else statement, and we check if the number is entered by the user. Suppose it's 4. If we divide 4 into 2, the remainder becomes 0. So our condition becomes true. In this case, the program will print out and says 4 is even. Otherwise, if the number is 7, if it's divided by 2, the remainder become 1. So 1 is not equal to 0, so the condition becomes false. So in this case, the else section will be executed, or the else block will be executed, which says the number is odd. So let's run our program. So if we run our program, and it says enter an integer, so I enter 6. And it says 6 is even. If I compile and run again, and I enter 11, and it says 11 is odd. So let's, enter another number. So like I entered, 333, it says it's odd. But if I compile and run again, and I enter a number like, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it says it's even. So this program is actually checking if the number is even or odd using if-else statements. So this is another example of, if-else statements. So this was our lecture for today, and see you on the next lecture.